I will be doing a light analysis of the NFL's new CBA, which was signed on March 15th, 2020. But first, we must understand what a CBA is. So a CBA, or collective bargaining agreement, in a sports context is an agreement between a players' association of a league and the league owners. It essentially dictates what will happen in the league throughout the next decade, setting out the rules of the land, including major areas like revenues, social values, and issues core to players, such as punishment, safety, and payment. The 2020 NFL CBA includes an extra regular season game, an extra wildcard playoff game in each conference, an increase in minimum player salaries, practice size, and roster size, and changes in the substance abuse policy. Many star players, including Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Watt, Russell Wilson, David Bakhtiari, were very vocal in their disapproval of the CBA. Despite that, the CBA passed in a 1,051 to 959 vote. Many players cited that it was missing adequate compensation for the extra games, no real change in terms of player health initiatives, and it had a sense of a rushed or heavily marketed product. There are benefits to the CBA though, obviously, as many players voted for it to pass. Devon Kennard, a linebacker and representative from the Detroit Lions, cited a check being a check and putting money in the pockets of players as a driving benefit. Looking at the economics of an extra game, the NFL currently plays 16 games with 32 teams. An additional game leads to a 6.3% increase in games. The player-owner revenue split is set to increase by 1.5%, which is overall a 3.1% increase for player revenues. Many players, as they are only receiving $250,000 for this game, are actually receiving less money per game. Despite that, there are still obvious increased health risks of playing another physical game. On the flip, increased salary for an NFL player is actually a relatively large deal. The minimum salary in the league is set at $495,000, but will increase to $700,000. The average salary for an NFL player is $3.1 million, though that's heavily pulled up by elite talent. The median salary is much more down to earth at $860,000. The conflict which is occurring from this CBA is essentially a class war between the players. The star players, who dominate the media cycle and make up a small portion of the league, are very vocal about their disapproval as they're not seeing the benefits from this agreement. In fact, they are consistently losing point to point. On the flip, the smaller names who don't represent a large portion of your favorite players but make up the majority of the league are actually seeing positive beneficial change, which makes a positive impact on not only their playing careers but further their entire life. Looking forward, it's possible that this divide will continue to pit players against each other, moving them further from unity. It still may be a long time until the NFL and the NFL Players Association figure out a way to find a solution which works for all classes of players to continue in the era of player empowerment which we currently live in a similar way to what the MLB and the NBA have found ways to do.